good afternoon and welcome to Orient Live for this afternoon's show as we're bringing you Leighton Orient versus Charlton. It's the O's first trip on the road of this season. We'll be donning our new silver away kit for the first time at the Valley, and we're looking to pick up our first points of the League One campaign as well. And these 12:30 kickoffs is really throwing everything off a little bit. We've had power cuts this morning, so apologies for the delay in getting the stream going, but also me and Brendan remember the 12:30 kickoff. Jabbo Abiro will be with us in the studio very shortly, but he's still getting to grips with the timings of the new season. We'll get there one day. Brendan, it's a big away trip. Charlton.
Yeah.
We've got a tough start to the season, really, and last week was tough against Bolton. So there'll be another tough test at a big club.
Yeah, another tough test, but that's what you want at this stage of the season, I think, in terms of these big sides haven't got into gear yet. I think Richie alluded to in his pretty much interview that when teams sign new players like Bolton did, like Birmingham coming up, like Charlton are going to today, it takes them a little while to get going, to adjust, to get into full flow, whereas we've got a few new players, but we've got a largely settled side. Everyone knows how Richie works. They've had the pre-season, and we look really, really strong against Bolton despite losing. So another tough test, but one where I think we can accredit ourselves well again today.
And Nathan Jones at Charlton, a very good manager. He was managing in the Premier League not long ago. It's a bit of a coup for them, and they'll be looking for a big season themselves, won't they?
Yeah, for me on paper, I think in terms of CV-wise, I think Nathan Jones is probably the best manager in League One this season. I think it's easy to look at the Southampton period where obviously didn't go great and he said some bizarre things in interviews and you can see him as kind of a joke figure, but the side he built at Luton was so impressive, and I'm surprised to see he's dropped down to League One level with Charlton, but it seems like Charlton have really backed him. They've let him, if not take control, but at least have a say in recruitment, and that's massive for him. I think perhaps some of the other jobs where he's failed, the likes of Southampton and Stoke, he's probably been working with other people's players. This summer at Charlton, they've really kind of let him have a go, bring in the characters that he's either worked with before or will really suit his system. He's playing that 3-5-2 that was so successful at Luton, and looking forward to seeing how they shape up against us today.
From an Orient perspective then, a good win on Tuesday night, 4 goals. 4 different goal scorers, 4 different assisters as well, which was good to see so many players getting off the mark. It's a slightly changed side, of course, but there'll be a lot of confidence taken from that evening. Yeah,
really pleasing professional performance. I think it's easy to forget that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Newport would have been a real tough test, and we played them on Tuesday night and dispatched with them like you would expect from like a mid-table League One side against a mid-table League Two side. Like you say, the 4 different goal scorers. I thought Jayasimi looked really good playing. He gives us a different option. I think Kelman came on and got his goal. I think we'll talk about him later, but good to see him in amongst the goals already this season. And yeah, like we said, a really professional performance, and the kind of performance you want to see at this stage of the season. So that everyone's kind of gone in for places, and we can make those changes and still run out comfortable winners.
Well, you don't want to be hearing too much from just Brendan and me. So let's hear from someone who's probably got a bit more of an insight than we do. It's time to hear from the gaffer. It's Richie Wellens.
Charlton's first 2 games of the season have both been 1-0, one in their favour, one against them in the Cup. What have you made of them from what you've seen?
It's difficult because only 2 games. I thought Wigan was actually pretty good in the game, in the league game. They made a few changes in the week. But I think we can cause them problems, definitely could cause them problems. But I think physically they're good, they work hard for each other. They're working for the manager, they're working for the club, and they run. When you get past their press, they do recover into shape pretty quickly. So, and obviously they've got players that have played at a higher level, and they've got talented players that can hurt us. So, yeah, I don't read too much into it at the moment in terms of what they're doing. It's about, listen, they have the certain weaknesses like every single team in this league, and can we capitalise on them? But it's more about, at this moment in time, it's more important than what we do.
Jamie Donley's joined us from Spurs today. What's he going to bring to the squad, and could he potentially be involved?
Talent, skill, goals, assists. In terms of the Premier League too, I don't think many scored more and assisted more. In terms of his goal contributions, there wasn't many players above him in terms of numbers. Technically very, very good. Spurs think a hell of a lot of him. They think he can play in their first team in the future. So we're really proud that Tottenham have trusted him, trusted us to work with him and develop in the first phase of his career. You know, I think I'm quite good at working with younger players, getting that balance right, when to set demands on them, when to make them feel like their comfort zone, but also realising when to get the talent out and the ability that they have. So we're excited to have him. He covers, he can play both wings, he can play as a 10, he can play as an 8. So in terms of the variety of positions he can play, he adds a lot to the squad, but ultimately it's about his ability.
Top stuff there from Richie. And saving the day now, we've got Nigel Travis joining us live from the States. Nigel, I'm hoping that this is all going to go to plan. Hopefully you can hear us and hopefully we can hear you. Thank you very much for joining us. How have you found the start to the new season then?
I'm looking forward to being there next week. So, yeah, I think it's been an exciting pre-season. I think the season is going to be a good one. I think when you look at the talent in the squad and the talent we've brought in, we've been extremely thoughtful about everyone we've brought in, and we're excited about what's going to happen in this new season. Like everyone, the start is incredibly tough. We had that last year. We did well. I'm sure we do well again.
Nigel, I'm really sorry. We're struggling to get sound through. It's not going very well today so far with the power issues. Not 100% sure what we heard there, but I think we're probably going to have to try and rejoin you in a minute, Nigel. We'll try and get the technical troubles sorted, but if you just bear with us, we'll try and reach you in just a moment. But let's take a quick look at the Orient lineup then, whilst we try and get sound connection with Nigel. So here's how the O's are lining up for their trip to the Valley, that first outing in that silver new away kit. And starting in goal is Zach Hemming. We've got a change in the back line as Tom James comes in and replaces Jaden Sweeney at left back. We've got Sean Clare keeping his space at right back, and then in the middle it's Dan Happy, and wearing the armband is Brandon Cooper. In the midfield is Zach Obiero alongside Jordan Brown, and then in the attacking front three positions we have Ollie O'Neill on the left, Dan Adji on the right, and Charlie Kelman leading the attack. And after signing on loan from Tottenham, we have number 17, Jamie Donley, and on the bench for the O's is Sam Howes, Jaden Sweeney, Omar Beckles, Lewis Warrington, Darren Pratley, Sonny Perkins, and Dialang Jayasini. So that is how the O's are lining up. And Brendan, I think the big one there is the new signing of Jamie Donley. I think a lot of people, a lot of journalists, a lot of Tottenham fans were surprised that he was coming to a League One club. I know it's only a loan signing, but I think it's a bit of a coup. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe a little bit condescendingly from Orient's point of view, that a lot of the comments were from Spurs fans saying he's too good for Leyton Orient. But like you say, it's a bit of a coup, to be honest. Looking at his record in Premier League 2 last season, where Tottenham were so successful, he got so many goals and assists at that level, and the time's right for him, obviously, to go out for a senior loan. I'm sure Spurs probably factored in that they need him to play every week, because there were rumours of other League One clubs, maybe Championship clubs, being in for him. But I think maybe part of the reason why he's here is that we've assured them that he will play games, and that's the case right in straight away. I think Ethan Galbraith's injury has probably opened up that opportunity for him to start today, and really excited to see how he goes, because from what we've heard, he's so exciting, so versatile, and could just be that little bit of X factor that maybe we've missed in the last season or so.
I don't know how much we've missed X factor, really, because my next question was going to be about how exciting some of those front 3-4 players are now.
Yeah.
Dan Adji and Ollie O'Neill, we obviously saw a lot of what they can offer towards, or in spells last season. Hopefully that continues. But it's Charlie Kelman who's looking like a different player to the one we saw a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's been a lot of talk about him kind of filling out and getting bigger and looks more like a man now. It's easy to forget that he was 20 years old when he was here 2 seasons ago. And I think if you look at, I was watching him in pre-season, and I was cautiously like, he looks different, he looks better. But you don't want to get too carried away with pre-season, because players can look like superstars in pre-season and then come to the first league game and they flatter to deceive. But he followed that up against Bolton, where I thought he was probably man of the match for me. could have had a hat-trick, and it was through not much fault of his own that the Bolton keeper that day pulled out a few worldy saves. So looks really, really impressive, and looks like he's getting into maybe better positions than he was in his first season. I think his first season, he got 7 goals in around 23 league starts. I think his finishing was never that bad. He never missed many sitters where you're like, oh, he's got a score there. But I don't think he really got in the goal scoring positions that you'd want of a player that can finish like he can. I think in the game against Bolton, and even in the cameo against Newport, he's shown he's getting in those positions. And then when he does get in those positions, he shows the finishing quality that we all know he's got.
Hopefully, we'll see some goals today, because obviously, 1 goal against Bolton on the opening day, and then 4 against League 2 Newport. But I think there's a few players out there, not just Charlie Coleman. Well, other than Charlie Coleman, who'll be looking to open their account for the O's this season. Yeah,
definitely. And it's a really attacking lineup when you look at it. Look, you've got Jordan Brown, who is going to be the sitter. He's going to be in that number 6 role and patrol in the midfield. Obiero, who a massive show of faith in him again to start him in what we expect to be a midfield 2, but he's not a player that's going to kind of sit back and just make tackles and do all the dirty work. He's at his heart, a creative player. He likes to get on the ball and makes things happen. And then that however it's going to work out, where you've got the 4 of Kelman, O'Neill, Donley, Adji, so interchangeable. If I'm Nathan Jones looking at that lineup, I'm questioning who's going to be playing on the right, who's playing on the left, who's going to be playing up front. And it can be a case where even during the game, it could start with a set 4, and then maybe it's not working, maybe Richie wants to test one of the other players against one of the Charlton defenders, and you can mix it up. So it's so fluid and gives us so many options today.
Right then. We're going to hopefully get to work and get those sound issues resolved. I know you can hear Nigel, but unfortunately we can't hear him in the studio. So hopefully we'll be joining him very shortly. But first, let's take a look and see some of the fantastic work that the Punjabi O's have been doing. How can we get this speaker on?
We're currently in the middle of South Asian Heritage Month. A few weeks ago we had the really successful launch of Punjabi O's. Arvi and his team brought that all together. And so we're here today to announce a sort of a collaboration between the club and Dev Trayan and Punjabi O's in terms of how can we... Punjabi O's was a great start, but how can we, in this diverse part of London, how can we get more of our South Asian community, both in the stands, but also as importantly, how many sort of boys and girls can come through the various teams and start playing and representing Leyton Orient as well. So we're reaching out to the South Asian community through guys that know the South Asian community a lot better than we do, because we're determined to make sure that every part of our community knows about Orient and is involved, as I say, either as support or hopefully even as players.
It's a huge moment for Trahan football, a huge moment for British South Asians in football, not just in the local area here in Leyton, in the borough of Waltham Forest, in East London, but a partnership that's got real potential to really affect the game on a national level. And we know that the underrepresentation of British South Asians in the elite end of football is stark, and it's just an absolute honour, a privilege to join hands with London's second oldest football club to really take some decisive action to try and really make real change for the community, both on and off the pitch.
What this tells us about Leyton Orient Football Club is that it shows you the stature of this club. It shows you what they're about, and it shows you their intent. There's a lot of talk out there about this sort of thing, but nothing ever gets done. Leyton Orient, for me, are the first club that are actually doing something about this.
Most clubs want to do the right thing. Football sometimes gets a bad name, but most clubs want to reach out to their community. Some want to do it more than others, some are more enthusiastic, some have to put their hands up, and I think we're one of those, and say we want to do it and we want to learn how to be better at it, and we want to actually see the change it can make, to see more season ticket holders, as I say, players coming through, youngsters coming here. Whatever the reasons are why the South Asian community don't embrace the club in greater numbers, we need to understand that and address it. And it's important for us. London is multicultural anyway. East London is particularly so, and we're proud to represent the area, and we want to represent every part of our community.
Arvi and the Punjabi O's, the band of season ticket holders who go and watch Leyton Orient home and away, they're really authentic, they're the real deal, and I think that's one of the things that I think the shared values that we have are just so apparent. We're together, we're united. We desperately want to make a more inclusive game, and as you said, we really want to see more kids who look like us on the pitch. So it's an absolute honour to join forces with them like this. I mean, the power of collaboration, I think you can only go, if you want to go far, you have to go with people. If you want to go fast, you have to go alone. But I think joining up with them, with the support of the football club, with the support of the other Dev, Mark Devlin, I think it's a match made in heaven in many respects.
My own experience is what drives me. That's my motivation. If I couldn't have helped myself, my parents had no knowledge of, giving me that guidance. They were just here, come over first generation, making ends meet. So I didn't have that sort of guidance, whereas I was seeing other kids that I was playing alongside their parents at every game. I wasn't afforded that opportunity because my parents had bills to pay. But we're in a place now where there are loads of our kids playing in teams, but we need to convert that into upping the numbers of the lack of South Asian, like British South Asian footballers out there at the moment, which I believe is like 0.5% compared to a 10% figure of British South Asians themselves as a population. So we need to fix that.
Top stuff there from the Punjabi O's, and just over 10 minutes to go until kick-off. Unfortunately, we're still experiencing some technical difficulties, so I don't think we'll be able to join Nigel just yet, but we're going to crack on and talk about the exciting game that's coming up still. And we've touched on the midfield and the attack, and that's looking good. Defensively, we're going to have to be strong today. Slightly different lineup to the one we saw against Bolton. Tom James has come at left back. What do you make of that one?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's two changes from the Bolton game with Cooper and Tom James coming in for Sweeney and Beckles, and it's kind of, I don't know, Cooper, I thought he was really good against Newport. I thought he played really well, but I wonder if maybe he just wanted to put in Tom James for that added bit of experience, because I don't think James Sweeney's done a whole lot wrong in his in the two starts he played against Newport and Bolton, but maybe with Omar coming out, you lose that bit of experience, that bit of leadership, and maybe Richie feels like he needs to balance that out a little bit more with Tom James. So it's an interesting change, and looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to shape up against what is a really good Charlton attack. I think they'll be very fluid. Ghassan Hadmi is a very powerful, strong runner. He's shown in spells that he can catch fire and score goals, and also Tyrese Campbell is a player that Charlton have always produced really good young players. He's another one off that line of thought. So probably two quick physical players, and maybe that's why he's gone with our two youngest centre halves in Brandon Cooper and Dan Happy today.
They might be our youngest, but I was going to say we're actually fairly stacked in the centre back positions, and Brandon Cooper's in there and he's wearing the armband as well. That's a big nod, I think, from probably how highly rated those two centre backs are by the coaching staff. Yeah,
definitely. I think he does, from what we've seen, he's a big character, especially on the pitch in those games. He's not afraid to get stuck in and get involved, and pleased that he got his goal on Tuesday night, where I thought he did really well. And he's that kind of, he blends well in terms of, I think he's that old school kind of defender who likes to put his head on things and fly into tackles. But also, I think, in terms of how Richie wants to play, he's actually really good on the ball as well. He's really comfortable, and I think those two with Cooper and Happy, two of the best probably in terms of just comfortable on the ball playing ability, two of the best centre backs in the league from that point of view.
Absolutely. So, kick-off is not too far away now, and that's all we're going to talk about the Orient side. And as we've touched on, Jamie Donley's been a fantastic addition to the O's, very highly rated young loanee from Spurs. So let's hear and see what he had to say as he joined the club on Friday.
Going on my first pre-season with Tottenham was very successful. I played a lot of minutes out there, training with them every day and seeing some of the best players in the world and seeing how good they are and learning off them really. And obviously coming back, I think there wasn't going to be enough game time for me there, so I think the right thing to do was to come out on loan, and I think this is the perfect club for me. I think I can really push this team, and I think my aim is to help this team to get to the playoffs. So I think we're definitely good enough with all the staff, the players, so, and especially the fans. I think we can definitely do that. That's my aim for this season. My teammates that have been on loan before have said just to be yourself, and obviously this is men's football, so I'm going to learn from good experience, and hopefully there's not as many bad ones, but yeah, it's all a learning experience. I'm a team player. I like to score, like to assist, and like to defend, so I'll do whatever I can to help the team win and help whatever the staff need from me. I played left back for Tottenham in pre-season, so I can play there, midfield, anywhere across the front three, wherever the gaffer needs me, I'll be available pretty much. Me and Zach Obiero obviously go back a long time ago, being at Tottenham together, and we were really good mates back then, and obviously he's gone and moved on to here, so coming here, and I saw he welcomed me in today, and he's helped me a lot. I spoke to Zach after the Newport game. I said I'm thinking there's talks of me coming here, and he said the boys are a great group of lads, and they play good football, and the staff are really good, so I think mine and his chat definitely helped me a lot. I got asked to come down here on Tuesday and to obviously get a feel of it and see how the team played, and I was very impressed. Obviously we smashed Newport and get through to the next round, but yeah, I was very impressed, and the director spoke to me, and I was very impressed with what he had to say. I spoke to the manager before training, and he said, am I fit and am I ready? And I said, yeah, I'm ready to play. And he said, he's going to make me a better player, and that's why you come on loans, to make you a better player and experience men's football. I trained my first session today, obviously looking ahead at Charlton tomorrow, which will be a tough game, obviously, my first game. So yeah, the boys were good. They welcomed me in. Yeah, so I'm excited for tomorrow.
Well, hopefully he can provide some good moments in an Orient shirt, just as many other Spurs loanees have done before him. Well, now it's time to take a look at the home side, Charlton Athletic, for this afternoon's early kickoff. So starting in goal for Charlton is Will Mannon. Ex-Orient loanee Alex Mitchell starts in the defence with Lloyd Jones, Macaulay Gillespie and Kane Ramsey. Connor Coventry and Greg Doherty and Luke Berry all start for the Addicts, with Josh Edwards and Tyrese Campbell playing, and Ghassan Ahadmi leading the line for Charlton. And Maynard Brewer, Watson, Small, Anderson, Gooden, Anike and Kanu are all on the bench for Charlton this afternoon. And we touched on it briefly, Brendan, but they're an ex-Premier League club. They're probably something of a sleeping giant. They've got a humongous stadium, big manager, came down from the Championship a couple seasons ago, and they've probably been underperforming by their fans' expectations of late. They'll be wanting to change that this season. Yeah,
definitely. I think if Charlton are in League One, I think automatically their fans and probably the outside footballing world expect them to be top six minimum, because, like you say, that stadium is huge. They've got a big fan base. There's a lot of untapped potential there, and they seem to cycle through owners that sometimes aren't great, sometimes are okay, but it seems like they've got a bit more of a stable base to build on now, and with Nathan Jones, I'm confident that they'll kind of pick up, and I'd expect them to be in and around it this season, especially that top six.
And we've spoken about, they've got firepower, they're young, they're exciting. The player we're going to obviously kind of naturally be attracted to is though Alex Mitchell, who was on loan here a couple of seasons ago, played under Richie for half a season. He's a big, strong defender, and we've said about how good our attack is, but he's not an easy nut to crack.
No, as we saw, especially under Kenny Jackett in that first part of his season on loan here, he was brilliant in terms of just your absolute no-nonsense defender, kick it, head it, get in the way, and positioning. All of those were his real strengths. I'm interested to see how he plays today and how his game's brought on a little bit, because he's had a number of loans. He's been out at Lincoln last season and up in Scotland before that, and it seems like he was purpose-made for Millwall. You always expected he was going to come and kind of slot into that back four at Millwall, where they probably don't need the kind of ball-playing ability. They just need the kind of defending that that you need, and I'm excited today to see how he's developed his game, because Nathan Jones probably will want that kind of ball playing ability.
Well, let's take a look at the clips now then of what he's got to offer for Charlton. We'll see it play now. He, as you said, he makes the tackles, he gets his head on it, he kicks it away, he's big and he's strong, and he did it for us, and it's been 2 years now, so he's probably even bigger and even, well, maybe not in that foul. But yeah, he's everything that you said is what we're seeing here in that first game against Wigan.
Yeah, and this was last weekend against Wigan, where Charlton picked up a decent win on the road, a 1-0 victory, obviously a clean sheet, so Alex Mitchell will be happy with that personally, but as we're seeing here, that's everything you kind of expect from Alex Mitchell, from what we saw of him, kind of putting his body on the line, getting his head on things, and just being your typical no-nonsense defender.
Kick-off is very nearly underway. Players are making their way out onto the pitch. How important is it that we pick up our first punch of the season, Brendan?
I think it's too important, because you can't target these games like the Boltons and the Charltons and the Birminghams. You can quite easily play well in these games and still lose. So I think even if we don't get the result today, it's not going to be a massive blow for me.
Well, hopefully we do get the result. We won't listen to Brendan. Hopefully we'll have a few goals on display as well. But the players are making their way out onto the pitch at the Valley. So let's hand over to our commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.